Welcome to the Local Marketing Source Weekly Update, brought to you by localmarketingsource.com. This update is taken from the Local Marketing Source Professional Development Program for local marketers.
This week's Local Marketing Update is brought to you by Scott Gallagher. Scott is the co-founder of Local Marketing Source and has become the recognized expert in providing online marketing services to local businesses. Follow Scott on Twitter @ScottGallagher5 and on Facebook.com/ScottPGallagher.
Hey, well, good afternoon, everyone. Scott Gallagher here with Local Marketing Source and bringing you our weekly local marketing industry update. Now, the LMS member faculty call for next week is going to be February 6th at 4 p.m. Eastern. And the LMS membership provides access to our private Facebook group, our portal with videos, and our weekly member call, student hot seat, and student interviews. Now we're going to begin the update this week with a weekly tip for a local business, and then we've got 5 or 6 items to go over for our weekly update, and then we're going to get into our local internet marketing agency tips and have a discussion with students about some of the questions that they've had. And hopefully Catherine's going to be on the line as well because, well, what's going on in our Facebook group, we could probably move right on to that in any event. And it's been really active this week. It's really nice. There's been a lot of different ideas. We've had some discussions about infographics in there, discussions about content in the portal, and Catherine just recently closed a discussion back and forth about bringing local businesses into a meetup group. And she had some successes this morning with 14 members that showed up and was able to provide some positive information. And I hope that she was able to achieve some leads from it. Maybe that's why she's not on the call today or yet, because she had to deal with some new prospects, and that would be fantastic. But this week we're going to be talking a little bit about some Google webinars, what's relevant. I think there's 13 or 14 webinars that are coming up in the next month and a half, and which ones are relevant for you. AdWords Express has made some changes where you can now promote AdWords Express through Google Plus to help increase your followers. Google Local announces some additional updated phone support. We've been trying their phone support and gotten through, and it seems to be fairly effective. What we're reading about on the internet is also seems to be that Google's phone support, it's kind of neat, so we'll talk a little bit about that. Google Plus adds multi-page management support. This is going to be cool to benchmark pages against each other and be able to get certain information from one page to another for those pages that are working and the ones that aren't working. Customized audiences with Facebook and the relevancy for that, and some changes on Yelp, where Yelp is working with local agency or local government agencies to get information about certain businesses and display it on a positive or a negative front. So our weekly tips that we're going to talk about this week. Last week we talked about leveraging social media distribution and content creation. This week we're going to cover Google Plus Local and the possible implications of Vine. That's Twitter's 6-second video solution tool. And for local internet marketing agency tips, last week we had some deep discussions about surveys and creating powerful surveys for customers or your customers, or having a revenue channel for your current customers. And this week we're just going to review some tips on the education of claiming listings and some of those things that you might be forgetting about, and as a reminder. So, having said that, I would like to move into our weekly tips. And, well, I mean, these are just some very basic things that we should definitely know about, and with Google Plus Local and what it is. And Google Plus Local, if you don't know, is really a social network, just like Facebook. It's really Google's version of Facebook. It's not really a lot of people on it. kind of a hurdle for Google because Google's pulling social signals from it, but it's not really a replica of what's really transpiring in the world, like Facebook with their social graph and what they're able to get. But nonetheless, you've got to be there. They want businesses that have a real physical address, and they really determine a business type based on whether you serve customers at that address or not. You want to have a local phone number with a local area code, and you want to engage in offline transactions. Not that purchases are made through your website. And these are the clear defining factors of what's a local business in Google Plus local. And to be able to get yourself exposed on that search network and social network, of course, are just like the same things that we look at in search marketing for Google's search engine and Google Places, and that's having citations and your NAP exposed properly, reviews, engagement, customer engagement. And don't forget, your website truly is your #1 citation at the end of the day. And, well, I guess we'll start with our weekly updates this week and talk a little bit about some Google webinars. And Google's changed a little bit right now. What they've done is they've broken it up into 2 areas for, now remember that these webinars are intended for local businesses. But even as an agency owner, there's certain webinars that I've always found relevant to be able to watch. We can kind of get into the minds of Google and understand what they're trying to accomplish, the messaging that they're giving local business owners. If we're speaking on the same jargon that Google is, and we understand what Google's trying to do, we could better service Google, we could better service Google's users, and ultimately we could also better service our customers. If you're a local business owner, these webinars are for you. You could just go and type into Google webinars for small business. It will bring you to their small business portal. But on March 5th, there's a webinar. It's a social webinar on how to use Google Plus and make social work for you. Although it's a social webinar, it's actually for a search marketer. It's a search marketing webinar. You're going to be able to pick up a lot of tips that are found in Google's algorithm. Nonchalantly, you'll hear them. But what works in Google Plus and how, see, Google's going to tell small businesses how they want them to work in their network. And then as far as driving sales types of webinars that Google's putting out, February 27th, well, that's in a month, going to discuss what's new within AdWords. AdWords is a very great source to obviously promote your business through paid channels. And on March 13th, the full value of mobile. Moving on. Additionally, Google promoting AdWords Express in Google Plus as a way to get more followers. Wow, yet another thing that Google's doing to increase their revenue for sales. You're paying for targeted followers in Google Plus, and ultimately this is going to be yet another tool in AdWords Express. AdWords Express being the very simplified version of AdWords intended for business owners to get in and utilize. Google announces that they've got some additional upgraded phone support. We've been utilizing the phone support over the last couple of weeks. They seem to be fairly responsive. They seem to have information about previous calls and whatnot, and have a good understanding. I'm impressed. I mean, I've been working with Google for many years, and here we are. Oops. Google has also added a multi-page management interface in Google Plus. I think that's a fantastic tool. So if you're managing pages within Google Plus, especially if you're managing client pages and whatnot, You can have multi-page management. From an agency perspective, this is going to be really valuable for us, being able to look at high-performing pages up against lower-performing or new clients and ensuring that what we're doing is going to get it on there. As a reminder, Facebook is really refining what they're calling their custom audience aspects, and so this is through paid advertising now. This is really good opportunity for businesses that want to target very specific areas. You can target right down to 9-digit zip codes. That's basically just a handful of houses if you really want. It's really, really powerful. The feedback on it in a short lifespan is that the click-through rates are through the roof. I'm trying to get some numbers on local businesses. They're just getting click-through rates across the board. So it's not really significant. Now, interestingly, Yelp is now integrating what they call inspection scores. They've actually worked with New York City and San Francisco, their health inspectors, and getting all their score data that the city collects from restaurants and displaying it on Yelp profiles as public information. What I find really intriguing is this is a business that's displaying information about local businesses, that's collecting information from multiple sources, from users, from the business owner, and now government, for consumers to make decision on whether or not they're going to make a purchase from that establishment. Where else can these search engines collect information from? Educational institutes and authoritative sites. It's pretty cool. And that comes to the conclusion, I guess, of this week's update in terms of content. There would seem to be quite a bit of things, but I'll tell you what, there hasn't been a lot exclusively in the local sector. As well as the paid sector, we see a little bit. We see Google really starting to push a lot. It's almost like a square peg into a round hole, you know, paying for followers. It's not even a proven social network. What else was I reading? That, yeah, Google is also now starting to launch paid YouTube channels. So, their bottom line is what they're really starting to consider and leverage the social network. I don't know if it's time yet. This social network really doesn't have a lot of progress in terms of real usage. To me, it just seems like that there's high-tech people on there and marketers. None of my friends are on Google Plus. Nobody. It's just not a place to go to for information about my social network. So I am going to move on to our local internet marketing agency tip, and then we'll open the floor to some questions. And if I have Catherine that's going to come on the line, I hope she's registered for the call. I hope she can come on the line a little bit later, because I want to talk to her about her meetup and whatnot.